Oh yes, 2024 is here, and I'm excited for that. It's a new year. Did you make any New Year's resolution, Eric?
Oh, I did, and some of them are still existing. Some of them. Of course, lose weight. That's always you have to do that.
This is this is
And
day. I'm looking at the calendar. We're recording this on day 4. This is
yeah,
January 4th.
a couple of them made it. One of the things I resolved to do was find a way to learn more, right? But outside of my comfort zone. Like for instance, I have started trying to learn Italian. So,
Really?
yeah, there's something I'm doing.
I don't think I could speak a word of Italian. I know the word
You
spaghetti.
know more
Spaghetti
by
and fettuccine.
social. You know more by social interaction than you
Perhaps.
realize.
Perhaps. I had a Spanish
Um,
teacher tell me one time that, oh, if you know Spanish, you know most of Italian because a lot of the words are the same. So I walk into an Italian restaurant one time and I'm like, uh, I was. I was trying to get a table, and I don't remember what I used. It's the words in Spanish, but I asked something,
you ended up insulting their family, didn't you?
necesito un mesa, and they looked at me like a cow staring at a new gate.
Oh, painful. Do you remember a little while ago when we were in that really weird crowded cemetery talking about technologies that were no longer used?
It sounds like a morbid thought, a very morbid thought that you're having, but I do vaguely
I
remember
think I
something.
remember that too.
You know, John, I'm really glad that we're able to be here and have somewhat of a somber moment. Kind of well, a moment of silence. Yeah. Here in this very densely populated graveyard, there's a lot of technology it reminds me of that has died. Is no longer around, no longer with us. Do you have things that you used to own or that you used to work with that are no longer part of your? Do you remember? Do you remember the iPod? It's evolved. It grew, but the iPod, the Zune, the MP3 player, this device that you would have to play music, and that's all it did. It's no longer with us. I do remember that. Yeah, a lot of those the things of digital rights management were used for those devices have gone to the wayside as well. I think in our industry, there's a lot of dead technology as well. I don't know that you could buy a key system anymore. Oh, I don't know. So for those who don't know, the key system would take a line from the provider and then map that to lines on a phone, and they keyed those lines, and so you would have line buttons. Now, I unfortunately get asked a lot to try and make our modern cloud system work like those. Yeah, it used to do this. Yes, it used to do this. Where can I get these lines? Well, those technologies have died. Another one that has almost completely gone the way of the dodo, the PRI. You know, not only that, but just plain loop start trunks are going away too. Yeah. Those twisted pair POTS lines. Yep. That plain old telephone service. Those lines are going away because the cost of copper and infrastructure to deliver the copper. It's not worth it. Was not worth it. When your internet can provide all that through different services. Now, funny enough, what would connect to those old loop start lines, an analog phone, that has not died. It's hanging on. It's got the death throes, but it's not dead yet. We should do a series about things that are close to. That refuse to die? The haunted places, right? Coming soon, between two phones. The haunted edition. Let's wait for Halloween before we do that. But it brings me to where we are today with the conveniences of something like Zoom Phone. Yes. There's so many things that we can do that are so far and above beyond what these dead technologies. Some might say they would seem supernatural. Supernatural. I was just going to take us to the next location. We just cut to a scene in a nursery at a hospital. Where the new things are being born. new ideas, new children. No, this is certainly a somber moment for technology, and
but with all, as the cycle of life happens, when death of one thing happens, it generally means, like you said, the birth of another.
It does, and something that's better to replace it. For instance, I think of, you mentioned your phone and how it pretty much took over for the Zune, the iPod. Yeah. Those things now give us the flexibility, the capability to do great new things.
My MP3 player, my internet browser, my phone. People forget it even does that.
I love the fact that I can look at the radar picture wherever I go and know exactly when it's going to rain somewhere nearby.
Absolutely.
Couldn't do that with the first iPod.
You couldn't do a lot with it.
Back to the studio.
And we're back, just like that. Yeah, we've seen a lot of those technologies die because we're just that old, Eric.
We have. And what's interesting is this is particularly impactful, I think, to small businesses, right?
It is. I know you have a place in your heart for small businesses. Zoom has equipped countless small businesses with the tools that they need as well. And so this next portion that we're going to talk about really speaks to those partners that are enabling small businesses and things that points of discussion, so to speak, for what you could do for a small business to enable them to better use Zoom tools.
Absolutely. Like if you look at the Zoom One bundle, right? And we talk about it all the time. And generally, when you're talking to a customer, you're looking at a couple of big features that make Zoom One really attractive. Like phone is one of the biggest ones. You get phone. Meetings, of course, is a big one. But when you're talking to a small business, you're literally talking about the ability to transform their entire technology infrastructure.
Yeah.
So they get the ability to meet with their customers, their vendors, their partners, all of their ecosystem, right? They get the ability to do that. We take that for granted, but that's a big deal. They get the ability to include a phone system, which right now is probably sitting in a shelf or on a wall in a mop closet.
It's no longer made.
Chat, right? Chat. It's something that enterprise-wide we know we need. We get used to having it, but smaller businesses, they're still just text messaging, or they're using Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp or some insecure, unsecure, non-private tool that doesn't have any regulation, doesn't have any control. So Zoom One really gets to kind of bring that full technology suite of enterprise-grade features at a very good price point.
Yeah, if we talk about something like Business Plus, the Zoom One Business Plus plan, I think that's probably, I like to call it the workhorse of the small business fleet. I think it's probably one of the most common license types because you get a really good, I mean, it's the best value for a small business. You're talking meetings, which everyone knows Zoom's for, so unlimited number of meetings.
Not just the free 40 minutes. You get all the features of meetings with it.
Yeah. You can put 300 attendees in those meetings as well, so they're large meetings. You got Whiteboard. Think of the productivity tools that you can enable a small business with.
Awesome tool.
Team Chat, as you mentioned. Mail and calendar now included, client and the service. So if you're looking for a mechanism to get your email, why not look to Zoom for that as well? It includes, phone. Phone is a huge one with unlimited local calling, or say regional
calling. But by local,
calling.
Let's define local. So when we're talking about some of these businesses that are used to key systems, local used to be like
they're still paying their long distance carrier. There's no more of that.
That was a thing though. Local, we're old enough that local meant that you paid for this little region, usually within about 50 miles.
Yeah.
And then everything else was an extra charge. Now when we're talking about local, we're talking about what we refer to as regional, which if you do it in the U.S., Canada, it's the entire U.S., Canada network.
North America, right?
Yeah.
So a big swath of territory. I think about things like we use Clips, Notes, AI Companion. The fact that we've got all of these tools built in, it is included in that Zoom One Business Plus plan. And these are all talking points that we suggest when you're talking to a customer or a prospect, or any small business, these are things that truly can enable and help those organizations do better at what they do. And a lot of times they don't realize that. There's a ton of stuff that our Zoom One Business Plus plan includes. And so for more information on that, you can hit up zoom.us/pricing. It will point out all of those great features and functionality.
Another selling point for our partners watching this to work with those small businesses, a couple of things, because I've worked with a ton of small businesses. Your sales cycle is generally much shorter.
Right.
When you're dealing with an enterprise, you're dealing with multiple layers of approvals and permissions and demonstrations, and that's great. Smaller businesses are much more agile. They can move fast. And the thing that I find that I love about working with small businesses, you can have a significant impact in their business, which I enjoy. That was something, John, that gave me a lot of joy, was to have an impact in those users.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know that you're improving their lives by doing so. So
absolutely.
I love it. All right. Well, a great way to kick off 2024. Go talk to a small business or two out there and make a change. Help them out. Right? What a great way to kick off the year. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.